Berachos Daf Mem. If a person talks right after he says Hamaitzi before he eats his bread, he must repeat the bracha again. Unless he's saying things that are important to the bracha. Like he tells someone in his family, here, take a piece of challah from the bracha. What if he says, pass me the salt? That's machloikis. Rabbi Yochanan says, that's not a hefsek. There's a shita that says, even if you say, we must make the food for our animal, that's also not a hefsek, because it's part of the bracha. It's asur to eat food before you feed your own animal. You need to prepare yourself before you make hamaitzi. In other words, make sure that everybody has their salt and whatever they smear onto the bread. Otherwise, it can't be a hefsek, unless you're doing hamaitzi on a very good piece of bread that doesn't need salt, doesn't need any smear. After every meal, you should eat some salt, and after drinking beverages, you should have a little bit of water that prevents the bad breath and askara, which is the worst disease in the time of the Gemara, at night. If you drink a lot of water, a whole flask of water for every bread, in other words, your food floats in your stomach, so to speak, that prevents diseases of the intestine. If you eat lentils once every 30 days, that's really good to prevent askara. And if you eat it every day, that prevents bad breath. If you eat mustard once every 30 days, that prevents diseases in general. And if you eat it every day, it's not very good. It weakens the heart. If you eat small fish like sardines, that prevents diseases of the intestines, and it causes the zera to be marba, and it heals the entire body. If one eats ketzach, now one pshat in Rashi is fennel, but he likes this pshat more, what they call in Hebrew ketzach. It's this black seed. If you eat a lot of that, it prevents heartache. However, its smell is really bad. It's considered one of the 60 samei mavis, one of the 60 poisons. And if you sleep next to it, the wind could push it into you and it could cause death. The Gemara tells us that Rabbi Yirmiyah's mother used to bake him bread with ketzach, but she would remove it because of the bad odor. The Mishnah says, and we learned that previously, that Rabbi Yehuda holds that when it comes to vegetables, you have to narrow it down a little bit more. So if you're eating greens, you have to say Bari Mine D'Shayim. Where did it get this concept from? Because the pasuk says Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. You don't have to bless Hashem at night. The answer is that every day, depending on the day, you have to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu bracha. So if it's Shabbos, you give him a special Shabbos bracha, Yantiv special Yantiv bracha. So too, when you eat foods, different foods require different brachas within the same category. You have to narrow it down. In vegetables, there's 3 categories. There's ha'adama, there's shoyim for greens, and zerayim for seeds. The Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't act like humans. Humans, when their vessel is full, they can't fill it up anymore. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a bracha that if we learn Torah, the more we learn, the more we retain. It says in the pasuk of Vayomer in Shemaya Tishma. So another pshat is, if you chazer and you do chazara on learning, you will be able to retain more. Says the Mishnah, if you say ha'adama, bari pri adama, on fruit, you are yaitze. But if you say the opposite, you say bari pri eitz, on a vegetable, you're not yaitze. And shahakol is moitzi everything. There's machlokes, when you bring bikurim to Hashem, to the Beis Hamikdash, you're supposed to say, ala aretz Hashem osatali, on the ground, on the land that you gave me. Now what happens if you had a disaster on your land? Your tree was chopped down, your stream disappeared. Do you still say it? Rabbi Yehuda says, yes, you still say it, because the main part is the actual land, not so much your tree. Rabbi Yehuda holds it's the land that we give the bracha, not the tree. There's a machlokes, a 3 machlokes. What exactly, from what tree did Adam HaRishon eat when he sinned? According to Rameir, it was the grape, because all sins, humans sin because of wine. Rabbi Nechemi says it's the fig, because the fig is what he dressed himself with afterwards. Other trees didn't want to give him any leaves. It was the fig that tried to compensate on the avera that he did. And finally, Rabbi Yehuda holds it's wheat. It's the tree of wheat. In other words, wheat is a tree. He ate from the Eitz Hadas. It gave him seichel, because a child only has seichel, can differentiate and call his mother, mother, and father after he has wheat. In other words, that's how he had das. And I would think that if you say ha'etz on wheat, you are yaitze. The answer is that wheat, although it might be a tree, but since it doesn't grow from you, once you pick it, that's it. So you don't say ha'etz on wheat. Rav Huna says, if you say shahakol, you are yaitz on everything besides wine and bread. And Rabbi Yochanan says shahakol will be mighty, even wine and bread. This is machlokes. Rabbi Yossi says if you change the words of the brachas of what Chachamim and Anshe Knesset were misaken, you're not yaitza. But Rabbi Meir says if a person uses his own language and he says, "How beautiful is this fig?" Baruch Hamakoim, blessed is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says Rabbi Meir, he is yaitze. But it's possible that if a person mentions fig, it's better than saying shahakal, because in shahakal is just a general bracha. On the other hand, it could be that shahakal is better than saying your own language, because shahakal is a bracha that chachamim were misaken. The Gemara tells us that there was a shepherd, his name was Binyamin, and by benching, instead of benching, he said, Baruch Rachmanim Marei Dahai Rifta. Blessed is Hashem, the master of this bread. And Rav said he's yaitze, the first part of Berachos Hamazon, the first bracha of Berachos Hamazon. Now we know that Berachos Hamazon is one of 5 things that you could say in any language. The parsha of Saita, Vidu and Meiser, Kriya Shema, Shemon Esrei, and Berachos Hamazon are things you could say in any language. But I would think you could say it in any language when you translate word for word. But in this case, he said his own words. Kamashmalan, that 2 things. Number 1, it was in a different language, and number 2, it didn't even mimic the language that Chachamim instituted. Nevertheless, it's a good bracha. Rav says that the most important thing in the bracha is mentioning Hashem's name. Rabbi Yochanan says you must mention Hashem's name, but you must mention the fact that He's a king. The Mishnah says anything that doesn't grow from the ground, the bracha is shahakal. And Rabbi Yehuda says something that is from a curse, and we're going to describe what that is, you don't bench at all, you don't say any bracha. He also says, Rabbi Yehuda, that if there's different foods, and one of them is from the Shivas Haminim, you must make the bracha on the Shivas Haminim first, and according to Chachamim, it doesn't matter. So here's a list. You have meat, fish, chicken, eggs, cheese, and foods that got ruined, like bread that's moldy, wine that's no good anymore, or any tafshil that's no good, salt and salt water, and noivleis. What is noivleis? So we must say in our Mishnah that noivleis means dates that were sunburned. They were burnt in the sun, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, that's considered a curse. It was cursed, and therefore there's no bracha at all on it. There is a concept called noivleis tmara, and that is when it comes to the halachas of Demai, Yavan Amaretz, we're not sure whether or not he took meiser or not. You don't have to be makbid and take meiser again on something that's really cheap, like these dates that were burnt. So the machlokes is whether it means dates that are burnt or dates that fell off the tree. Dates that fell off the tree should be hefker, and they are hefker. But over here, we're talking about he made a pile of them. They are goyren, and therefore, they're rabbanan. They are chayev b'meiser. Have a wonderful day.